Hello everyone. In this video, I will discuss about the basic functional elements of a measurement system. Particularly, I will be discussing about the transducer. So there are different type of basic functional elements in instruments. They can be divided into three categories. Number one is the transducer elements. The function of the transducer element is to sense the desired input in one physical form and convert it to another physical form. So that we will see later on. Second element is the signal conditioning element. The function of signal conditioning element is to process and modify the signal received from transducer element so as to obtain the output in desirable form. And third element is the data presentation element. Data presentation element gathers the output of signal conditioning element and presents to read or to display so that operator can see the value of the measured quantity. Now let us discuss the transducer elements. So there are different type of transducer elements that you can see in different instruments. So we will be discussing them one by one. So first transducer element is a thermocouple or thermopile. So in this transducer element, the input variable is the temperature, while the output variable is voltage. So it senses the temperature and convert it into voltage. So this is the principle of operation. And EMF is generated across the junctions of two dissimilar metals or semiconductors when one junction is heated. So one junction is kept at a particular temperature and another junction is heated, then an EMF is generated. So this diagram shows the block diagram of thermocouple. So these are the cold junctions. So they are kept at a fixed temperature while other junction is heated, and because of this temperature difference an EMF is generated, which can be read by the millivolt meter, and that can be converted into the temperature reading. Now let us move to another element. Once again we can have a transducer element which convert temperature into displacement. So and this type of device you can find in liquid and glass thermometer, which you might have seen in your laboratory. So its principle of operation is like that. When you heat some metal, then this result in thermal expansion in volume, and when you put that metal in a capillary, then because of the increase in volume it results in the displacement. So this is the figure of a simple thermocouple. So initially when temperature is low, so your manometric fluid is at this location, and when it is heated, so it moves up and it results in the displacement which can be calibrated. Now let us see another transducer. So resistance thermometer. So this converts the temperature into pressure. So input quantity we are giving the temperature, while pressure is our output variable, and its principle is that resistance of pure metal wire with positive temperature coefficient. So because of the heating, resistance changes, and we can record that change in resistance, and that it can be converted into the change in temperature. So this is the diagram of this resistance thermometer. So this is the sensing element. So when we heat this, so it results in the change in this resistance because of the change in temperature, and this is connected to a Wheatstone bridge. So because of this change, there is some unbalance in the bridge, and we can record that unbalance, and we can calibrate the change in resistance into change in temperature. Now let us move on to the next transducer element. So before moving, this is the actual diagram of this resistance thermometer. Now next transducer element is the LVDT, linear variable differential transducer. So it converts the displacement into the change in induction. So this is the diagram of LVDT. This is a 3D diagram, while this is the circuit diagram. So we have a primary winding in between, and then we have two secondary windings, and in between we are having a iron core, soft iron core, which is a movable one. So when this is at the center, then there is no voltage, that is voltage generated is zero, but when this core is moved, so then the linking of the flux in the primary secondary winding is different, which results in some voltage, which you can see here. So now this voltage can be converted into, this displacement can be converted into the voltage. So this is the principle of operation. Differential voltage of the secondary windings varies linearly with the displacement of the magnetic core. So there is a linear relationship between this displacement and this voltage generation. Now let us move on to the next. You can convert the displacement into the change in resistance, and this can be converted through potentiometric device. So this is the potentiometric device. So this is the resistance. So as we move this slider, this will result in the change in resistance, and as this resistance change, so because the resistance of the circuit is changing, so we will get different voltages, and then this displacement can be calibrated to read the different voltage, and by knowing the voltage we can know the change in displacement. And here the same thing is done by rotating the because here we are moving in a linear way, and here we are rotating it, so it is the same thing. So our next transducer element is electrodynamic generator. So this device converts the input variable, which is motion, into voltage. The principle of generator you have been reading since your school days. So in this we have two magnets, and a magnetic field is present here, and we are rotating the conductor in this magnetic field, and this results in the generation of electricity. So in this way we can convert the motion into voltage, and this is just the block diagram of this generator. Next transducer element is the Venturi meter or orifice meter. So this device converts the flow rate into pressure. So suppose you are having a pipe, and a Venturi meter or orifice meter is fixed in between the pipe. So this is the pipe, and this is the pipe, and in between we have installed a Venturi meter. This is the Venturi meter. So a Venturi meter has a reduction in area, so your area is reducing here, and then again it is increasing to the original level. So because of the change in area, change in velocity will result, change in pressure will result, and by connecting a U-tube manometer, we can record the change in differential pressure. So in this way, this flow rate is converted into the change in pressure. So by knowing the value of this change in pressure, we can know the flow rate in the pipe. And this is the 3D diagram of the Venturi meter. And similarly, you can use the orifice meter also. In orifice meter, we have the sudden reduction in area, while in Venturi meter, we have a gradual reduction in area. Now we will discuss the different and desirable characteristics of a transducer. So a transducer has many desirable characteristics. Let us see them one by one. So this is the first characteristic. So it says that the transducer element should recognize and sense the desired input signal and should be insensitive to other signals present simultaneously. So this is the important point. Suppose you want to measure the temperature of say of the room, and in the room there is also some air is flowing, some pressure changes are there, some humidity changes are there. So your transducer should be such that it only senses the change in temperature. Its reading should not change with the change in humidity, change in pressure, change in velocity. So if the reading of the transducer will change with these quantities also, then it will not record the correct physical quantity. So your transducer element should be sensible only to the desired input signal which you want to measure. So one example, a velocity transducer should sense the instantaneous velocity and should be insensitive to the local pressure or temperature. The next desirable characteristic is it should not alter the event to be measured. So what it means that if we are measuring the temperature, then our transducer should not change the temperature. So because if your transducer will take a lot of heat from that body, then what it will do, it will change the temperature of that body. So our transducer should be such that it does not alter the event. That is why the tip of the thermocouple, suppose this is your thermocouple, so the sensing element is made very small so that it does not absorb a lot of heat. Suppose if we made the tip of the thermocouple like that, then what it will do, it will absorb a lot of heat and it will change the temperature which we are measuring. So your transducer should not alter the event to be measured. Now next desirable characteristic is this: the output should preferably be electrical to obtain the advantages of modern computing and display devices. Because electrical output is easy to process and you can easily process it and you can easily display it. So if output is electrical, then it will make your job easy. Then next is it should have good accuracy. So that definitely you will want. It should have a good reproducibility, means if you are measuring the same thing, then your measuring device should give the same reading. It should not be like that. It gives different reading when you are measuring the same thing different times. So that we also discuss in our separate lecture, which will be on the static characteristics of transducer. So we will discuss in detail the accuracy and precision there. Next desirable characteristic is that it should have amplitude linearity, means your output and input should be related linearly. Now we will see some more desirable characteristics of transducer. The seventh one is it should have adequate frequency response or dynamic response. Means suppose your the physical quantity which you are measuring is changing with time, then your transducer should be such that its value should also change, means its response should be fast. Next is it should not induce phase distortions. That means that the time lag between input and output should be as small as possible. Because of the some inertia of the transducer, it might be possible that the time lag between input and output is large, so that is not desirable, because if the time lag is large, then it will induce the phase distortions. Next desirable characteristic is this: it should be able to withstand hostile environments without damage, and it should maintain the accuracy. Especially in Indian conditions, we have extreme weather, we have extreme summer, extreme winters. So if your transducer is very delicate and it should not be able to withstand the hostile environment, then it is possible that it can give some unacceptable readings, say during very hot weather or very cold weather. So your transducer should be such that it should withstand the hostile environments. Next desirable characteristic is that it should have high signal level and low impedance. Means the output signal of the transducer should be high. If it gives very low signal, then the processing of that signal should be very difficult. Next, it should be easily available, reasonably priced, and compact in shape and size. The next desirable characteristic is this: it should have good reliability and ruggedness. In other words, if a transducer gets dropped, it should still be operative. It should be rugged enough, because during working it might be possible that your transducer will dropped by chance, and then it may give some wrong reading if it is very delicate. Now next we will see some more desirable characteristics. Leads of the transducer should be sturdy and not be easily pulled off. Means if you connect the transducer once, then it should be fixed enough so that no one can easily pull it off. And the next characteristic is this: the rating of the transducer should be sufficient and it should not break down. Means suppose your temperature is varying between 0 to 100 degrees Celsius. So you should take a transducer that can take a reading of say plus 20 degree, that it can withstand a 120 degree also, because it is possible that the temperature might overshoot. So if you design the temperature transducer for say only up to 100, and if your temperature goes beyond 100, then it is possible that your transducer breaks down. So this should not be the case. You should design a transducer by taking some plus minus in the readings of the quantity which you are measuring. So these are all the desirable characteristics of transducer. This is all for this video. Thank you very much. In the next video we will discuss signal conditioning element. Thanks. for watching.